It was nighttime, February 1943, and I was standing next to my mother, thinking about the war in Europe. I had a very good relationship with my mother, so there's no need for any psychoanalysis about why I was thinking of the war. The fact was, we had finished dinner, and she was washing the dishes, and I was drying them, as was our routine. My father, a traveling salesman, was on the road, and my younger brother Jerry had run off to play. We lived in Danville, Illinois, which was about as far away from the war as you could get. Danville was a small town in the heartland of America, and felt very much like the heartland. It was quiet and neighborly, a place where there was a rich side of town and a poor side, but not a bad side. Streets were brick. The homes were built in the early 1900s. Everybody had a backyard. Most were small, but none had fences. People left their doors open and the lights on, even when they went out. Occasionally, someone down on the luck would knock on the back door. My mother would give him something to eat. Sometimes she'd give him an odd job to do, too. I had things on my mind that night. You could tell from the way I looked out the kitchen window as I did my part of the dishes. I stood 6 feet 1 inch and weighed 130 pounds, if that. I was a tall drink of water, as my grandmother said. I'm going to be 18 in March, I said. That means I'll be up for the draft. I really don't want to go, and I really don't want to be in the infantry. So I'm thinking I ought to join now and try to get in the Air Force. My mother let the dish she was washing slide back into the soapy water, dried her hands. She turned to me, serious look on her face. I have something to tell you, she said. Yeah? You're already 18, she said. My jaw dropped. I was shocked. But how? You were born a little premature, she explained. You didn't have any fingernails, and there were a few other complications. Complications, I said. Don't worry, you're fine now, she said, smiling. But we just put your birth date forward to what would have been full term. I wanted to know more than she was willing to reveal, so I turned to another source, my grandmother Van Dyke. My grandparents on both sides lived nearby, but grandmother Van Dyke was the most straightforward of the bunch. I stopped by her house one day after school and asked what she remembered about the complications that resulted from my premature birth. She looked like she wanted to say bullshit. She asked who had sold me the bill of goods. My mother, I replied. You weren't premature, she said. I wasn't. You were conceived out of wedlock, she said. And then she went on to explain that my mother had gotten pregnant before she and my father married. Though it was never stated, I was probably the reason they got married. Eventually, my mother confirmed the story, adding that after finding out, she and my father went to Missouri, where I was born. Then, following a certain amount of time, they returned to Danville. It may not sound like such a big deal today, but back in 1925, it was the stuff of scandal. And 18 years later, as I uncovered the facts, it was still pretty shocking to discover that I was a love child.